y bienvenidos a la Daily Hustle. Deuces Wild Daily Hustle. Soy Enrique Byrnes y Presidente es el mejor cerveza. No abate por No Filter Network. Will the Thrill Clark not with us this morning, but he will be with us this evening. Y Miguelito Santiaguito, a.k.a. Bobby Barrels, a.k.a. Bobby Ball. Not with us this morning as well, but check this shit out. He will be starting a brand new podcast on mental performance on No Filter Network. I can't wait to be a part of it. It is something that we are both very excited about, that we are going to get rocking and rolling on shortly. We feel like we have the ability to impact a lot of young go-hards out there by focusing on this, the mind that is. Anyhow, remember this, folks, as we properly salute each and every one of you, including our boy Hunter Pants, properly. Yes, 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 yes! Woo! Now we need to remember this, folks. When we're juiceful, we are useful, and when we are juiceless, we are fucking useless. A very pleasant good morning to you on the 16th day of April, 2024. The DH has been off for a while. I mean, I guess all last week. I think the last show I did was a couple Fridays ago. So bear with me here as I am going through a pretty eventful season of travel with baseball and kids ski. It just keeps coming. So just excited about it. And it's awesome, obviously an awesome opportunity to get out there and experience life and share these experiences with my kid. It takes a little bit of a toll on the regular content that I'm able to produce. Typically, I'd like to bring my stuff with me, as I did down to Mammoth and Huntington Beach, and I will again this weekend as I'm traveling once more. But we are going to try to continue to do this on that Monday through Friday basis, fire up the emails again. So just a little bit of a lull right now. I'll tell you where there's no lull. It's in the sports world, because we've got everything firing, whether it's NBA playoffs, NHL playoffs coming up. You have the WNBA draft and Caitlin Clark being the first overall pick last night. MLB season in full swing. NFL draft right around the corner. So all kinds of good shit going on. Let's not forget our title sponsor here, BetOnline. It's your number one source for all of your summer sports this season, from MLB to golf, NBA and NHL playoff stats. Yeah, I didn't even mention the golf and the Masters and Scottie Scheffler. Like, look, that was a dominant performance. A lot of people are going to give him grief for not being the flamboyant character that maybe we would want more of a Tiger Woods. Look, there's only one fucking Tiger. We need to realize that. We keep looking around being like, oh man, when's the next Tiger Woods coming up? It's not happening. It's just not. Even if Charlie ends up being a great PGA player, that's Tiger's kid, he's still not going to be Tiger. Are we going to sit around waiting for the next Michael Jordan? I don't know. Basketball might be a little different because we did get Steph and we did get LeBron. And it's all who your preference is. But there is not that dude in the golf world right now. Not to mention the fact that it's split up between the LIV and the PGA, and I don't even know what the fuck to watch. I don't know who's where. As a casual golf fan, Hank Haney, by the way, kudos to him who called Scheffler winning the Masters. It's not hard. He went over a few other candidates that could do it, and then he goes back to the world's number one. He's like, look, this is the best golfer in the world. So he ended up taking that thing down. All right. Did I finish my online read? I don't know. But head to the website today, BetOnline. It's where the game starts. Latest news, odds, scores, predictions, team matchups, player props, and all kinds of other shit. Bet Online. That is your destination. Okay, something that I wanted to get to last week, which was really interesting. There was a title of an article that came across my newsfeed that read, Nike ripped for women's Olympic uniforms. Quote, my hoo-ha is going to be out. So good. So, Nike created these USA track and field uniforms. You go ahead and take a look at them right here if you're watching on No Filter Network or Caffeine TV where you guys have video. But apparently, the women's uniforms are cut way too high. And you have athletes everywhere who have taken issue with this. There's all sorts of quotes on it. Let's just rip through a couple of them. Quote, there's no way a female runner had any say in that design. One person speculated while another quote, I hope the USATF is paying for bikini waxes. Another commentator wondered, if the labia are hanging out on a still mannequin, what do we expect to happen to a moving person? Count labia is a word that I didn't think I'd be using here this morning on the Daily Hustle. Incredible. Even professional runners and Olympic hopefuls are weighing in on the design. Long jump star Tara Davis Woodhull, a favorite to make this year's Olympic team, commented, quote, and this is the best of the best. Wait, my hoo-ha is going to be out. Hoo-ha. Colleen Quigley, a pro steeplechase athlete and former Olympian, wrote, I mean, I still want to make the team, but ... And pro trail runner Grayson Murphy admitted, that gousset is giving me anxiety. Lauren Fleshman, a retired U.S. world champion runner, had some harsher criticism to share. In an Instagram post, Fleshman wrote, quote, I'm sorry, but show me one WNBA or NWSL team who would enthusiastically support this kit. This is for Olympic track and field. Professional athletes should be able to compete without dedicating brain space to constant pube vigilance or the mental gymnastics of having every vulnerable piece of your body on display. Women's kits should be in service to performance, mentally and physically. If this outfit was truly beneficial to physical performance, men would wear it too. She added, this is not an elite athletic kit for track and field. This is a costume born on patriarchal forces that are no longer welcome or needed to get eyes on women's sports. Stop making it harder for half the population. And then Laura Fleshman tagged at Nike, Team USA, and USA Track and Field. Okay, so I'll say this. I don't believe this was a sexist thing where it was like, hey, let's try to reveal the woman's hoo-ha. No, I feel like this was more of a mistake, kind of like the MLB uniforms, where Nike had great intentions in the design of the kit, but what came out is not what they thought. And so when you have something that's cut that high, I got to believe women are going to be extremely vulnerable with it. So when you're looking at this situation, where do you go from here? And I'm going to go back to the MLB uniforms. Make a fucking change. It's not that hard when you have uniform pants ripping in half because they're too thin and they're too transparent. That was the issue there. You could see right through them. Well, it's the same thing with the jerseys and the sweat stains and the minuscule names on the back. Apparently, Bryce Harper, by the way, what a fucking savage, was wearing his uniform from last season, at least the top. Just awesome. Talk about somebody that doesn't give a fuck about paying a fine. I'm going to do my thing. Well, Harper went ahead and did it. If you're Nike, they came out, they said they have no problem with the uniform. It's been approved by several athletes who they used as they tested the uniforms out. They then said that, with the mannequin, it's basically because of the build of the mannequin. Look, no two women are built the same. So I got to have a feeling there's going to be a woman professional athlete, track and field runner that's going to be built similar to the mannequin. So yes, it is going to be revealing. You've got to give these women options. I don't know what to do, and I don't know where they go from here. I mean, maybe you just throw some shorts underneath there, some booty shorts or whatever. But it is awfully aggressive. Again, I don't think this is purely intentional, nor were the MLB uniform debacle. Was that purely intentional? It wasn't. But I also think it's fucking ignorant if they want to come out and say, oh, everything's fine. No, it's not. Yes, get the athletes to try it on. I'm sure there's a few that are going to say, okay, yeah, this works, no big deal. But when you're dealing with, and we're talking about hundreds, we're not talking about hundreds of thousands, right? We're not even talking about thousands in Major League Baseball. There's no more than 850 players at one time. It's not that many fucking uniforms. And in the United States track and field Olympic team, I don't know. Is it 100 even total? So be a little more sensitive to what the players and other personnel within the sport are saying about the getup. It's slightly comical, to say the least, though. All right, the next one I want to get to, because this was huge. Caitlin Clark and Iowa, when they faced off with South Carolina in the national championship game, there were millions and millions of people. I believe it peaked at 24 million that ended up watching that game. Just crazy numbers. And it makes sense. You have what is arguably the best college basketball player of all time in Caitlin Clark, and you had an undefeated South Carolina team, one of just a handful of teams to ever go wire to wire undefeated and take home the national championship. So it had all the makings to get these outrageous ratings. It's still, way more than I would have ever anticipated. The question becomes, where does women's basketball go from here? And is this sustainable in any sense of the word? There's a huge article here in The Athletic saying, in the post-Caitlin Clark era, how can women's college basketball keep the momentum? And it's a great question. Let's see. It says, to put the South Carolina-Iowa viewership in perspective, the game topped, and here are the numbers. The 2024 NCAA Women's Final Four was the most viewed on record, averaging 13.8 million viewers. Those numbers included 14.4 million viewers for Iowa-UConn, the second most watched women's college game on record, and 7.2 million viewers for NC State and South Carolina. The tournament overall, 57 games across ESPN's platform, averaged 2.2 million viewers, up 121% from 2023. It's the most watched women's NCAA tournament since ESPN acquired exclusive rights in 1996. To put the South Carolina-Iowa viewership in perspective, the game topped every World Series game since Game 7 in 2019. Every NBA Finals game since Game 5 in 2017. Every Daytona 500 since 2006. Every Masters final round since 2001. All but 4 college football games in 2023. All but 1 non-Olympic women's sporting event on U.S. television, the 2015 Women's World Cup final between USA and Japan. So that's the momentum the sport has Heading forward, Iowa star Caitlin Clark now moves to the WNBA, and her exit will unquestionably depress next year's NCAA tournament viewership numbers. It's wish casting to think next year's title game can draw 18 million or more, but the opportunity to grow women's college basketball is massive. The first step from this perspective is to increase the visibility of the regular season schedule. That makes sense. Quote, what I'm focused on with my team is over the next couple of years, can we get to a better place where we have more consistency in our offering of regular season women's college basketball on premier platforms throughout the season? This is Nick Dawson, ESPN Senior Vice President of Programming and Acquisitions. Quote, we've made small strides there over the past 4 or 5 years, but still a little bit spotty throughout the regular season in terms of when the opportunity exists. How do we build better momentum, building and recruiting, and consistent platform for the sport, especially through the months in January, February, early March as it leads up to the tournament? Okay. Look, I get it. And I don't want to be Debbie Downer here, but you guys are fucked. Until the next Caitlin Clark comes around. Until the next South Carolina undefeated team just, boom, pops up. And I don't even think that is going to do it. South Carolina knew that a lot of their attention was because of Caitlin Clark. That was it. Sure, they had a hell of a run. But I think the fact that this is the all-time scoring leader in men's and or women's basketball was just a huge game changer. And the fact that she's throwing up Curry threes from all over the fucking hardwood and draining them, it's just like, what? Who is this? I mean, I remember, I don't even know if I knew who Caitlin Clark was until about halfway through this season, and she was chasing down this points record. And I'm watching her. I'm like, dude, she's mesmerizing. She is unbelievable. And what she was doing is single-handedly beating teams, and she was fucking ice cold too, just in the sense that she's a killer out on the hardwood. She was really fun to watch. And this does go back a little bit to what I was saying with golf, where with Scottie Scheffler, yeah, hey, great job. Awesome Masters win. Seems like a good dude. I love to sit down and knock back a couple of tequilas with him. But he's not fucking Tiger Woods. He's just not. And he's not going to be. And is that good for the game of golf? Having a champion that's the world #1 player and he's consistent. He seems humble. He seems competitive with a quiet edge to him. That's fine. But it's not great when your best player is sort of that under the radar type dude. You can look at every sport and ask yourself who the kingpin is. And then once you find that kingpin, let's just say in hoops, right, we're dealing with still, I would say LeBron and Steph, and you can say Luka or whatever. Like, it doesn't matter. LeBron and Steph are still, in my opinion, the faces of the NBA. I think it's something like 11 of the past 13 finals has had either LeBron or Steph in there. So that then will tell you a little bit about the state of the game. In baseball, I mean, the best player right now, is it still Mike Trout? You could make a very fair argument that it is. Now, the problem with baseball is that your impact on a team, even if you are the best player, is not nearly what it is in other sports. And so then now you're dealing with an issue that, I mean, Mike Trout's played a one fucking playoff series in his entire career. Corey Seager, I still think, is the best hitter. And that translated to a World Series championship last year. They have guys, when there's a guy, I'll just take, for example, when Fernando Tatis Jr. was coming up, and he was the dude, and he came up, and he took the world by storm. And you thought to yourself, this could be a multiple-time MVP over and over and over and over again, and then he dealt with a few issues. That flamboyance, the fact that he plays the game hard, he's got the flair to him, he's got the drip, he's got all of it. That's a superstar that baseball wants. That's a superstar that baseball needs. Now, look, there is something just fucking awesome about the Mike Trouts of the world, Aaron Judges. Aaron Judge, though, you can almost put in that same sort of category as a Mike Trout. Although I think his physical presence brings a lot, right? This gargantuan of a man and, just so calm and, yeah, that's a good one. But when it comes to women's sports, and this is the whole point of all this, look, it's nothing that ESPN can do. It's nothing that women's college basketball can do. Who's the next Caitlin Clark? Who's the next just super dynamic player that is going to captivate the attention of a nation? Now, does this player have to beat Caitlin Clark's record? Not necessarily, because they do have extra eyeballs on them. The women's soccer goes through this every fucking year, right? They have the World Cup, and then soccer ratings boom, and then after that, it just goes, meow, meow, meow. Okay, let's hit a little bit of baseball here. I don't know if you guys saw this yesterday, but Cardinals manager Oliver Marmol, he grabbed an A's security guard during a bizarre moment. They were challenging a call on the field, and Marmol was looking over to his bench coach, who I believe was Daniel Descalso. And it was, because I could see Descalso on the phone right now. The security guard then walked in between them to go out because it seemed like there was going to be a timeout. Marmol then grabbed the security guard as if, get the fuck out of my way. Descalso says yes on the challenge. Marmol then goes like this to the umpires to challenge the call, but they wouldn't let him do it. So from there, shit just got really weird, as there is a ton of people blaming the security guard for this non-challenge. Look, leave the fucking security guard alone. He's just doing his job. He's out there for your safety. He's out there for your benefit. And if you look at it closely, Descalso, who's a St. Francis grad, by the way, does not say yes on the challenge until after the security guard was already cleared out by Marmol. So a weird scene in Oakland. Very weird. Let's see. I'm trying to see if I can find any more details on it. It says in Monday's St. Louis Cardinals win over the Oakland A's, Cards manager Oliver Marmol was thinking about challenging a play, and then Brendan Donovan may have been safe after being apparently tagged out in second, but the athletic security guard wandered over in front of Marmol, who was trying to figure out if he wanted to challenge. Marmol missed the deadline to challenge it. So the security guard may have accidentally helped the team that employs him, even though the Cardinals ended up winning the game. What a weird series of events. I mean, that's all it was. I'm not going to look too much into it at all. Brandon Crawford, by the way, and I can't wait to talk to Will Clark about this tonight. Back in the Bay Area with the St. Louis Cardinals, they've played 16 games so far. He started 4. So kind of a tough deal for Crawford, a guy who's been used to playing every single day. I'm not even sure if there was ever a point with the Giants that he was actually a platoon guy. I mean, he's always the everyday guy. There were times when he wasn't healthy, that was for sure. But he was a dude that, I mean, at the very least was going to play against right-handers, and now here he is sitting on the Cardinals bench. I think he's frustrated. I could tell by a few of the quotes that he had, hey, I've started 4 games, but I was hoping to maybe get in some more. And Marmol hasn't used his bench, but essentially Crawford is sitting behind their young stud shortstop, Mason Wynn. And his job and what he signed up for was to tutor Wynn. I get it. Remember this, if you're Marmol or any other manager, and this is what Bob Melvin does so well, keep your guys active. Keep them into it. I don't care if it's a pinch run. I don't care if it's a pinch hit. Whatever it is to get them involved, defensive replacement, when you can get dudes out there and going. Now, for Crawford, I would say, and this would be a huge help, he's a shortstop. But go play fucking left field, man. Go play second base. Go play third base. At this stage of your career, if you want to keep playing and you want to be that utility guy, play everywhere. That is the key to longevity when it comes to, if you want to keep doing this. I kind of have a feeling that at some point Crawford's going to be like, fuck it, I'm out, and then that will be it. Okay, a couple more things here. Justin Verlander is bullish on the ball strike challenge system after a AAA rehab start. So here we go. He said, it worked well for me. I got a couple of strikes out of it, Verlander said. I would much rather prefer that than the automatic balls and strikes. I think umpires have one of the hardest, especially behind the plate, one of the hardest jobs out there in sports, and nobody's perfect. But I think in general, everybody wants to get the calls right in big situations or get the egregious wrong or right calls done right. So I think something's coming down the line. I haven't had the full ABS system trial, so I can't really compare it. But I didn't mind this. It didn't seem to disrupt the game all that much. And yes, that is definitely something that has been working well in AAA. It's still kind of mind-scratching, though, because if you have this system and you have the ability to use it on every pitch, why wouldn't you fucking use it? Really? Every pitch, it's not hard. It's either a ball or a strike. That's it. Why do we have to go down to this challenge thing? Just get the call right. It doesn't make sense at all. I mean, it's like the tennis. It could be like a call that you want to challenge. I mean, no. It's now either in and out. Like, we could try to tiptoe our way into this, but ultimately, we know what's going to happen. I mean, this goes back to the experiment I did almost 10 years ago. It was 2016, I believe, at the San Rafael Pacifics when we used the automated strike zone. We're in 2024, 8 years later, and it's everywhere. It is. And it's coming to Major League Baseball. It's going to be here sooner rather than later. I actually said back then, I said within 5 to 10 years, it's going to be here. Now, I don't know. The challenge system will certainly be here within the 10 years. And it might take another 2 or 3 after that to finally just get everything automated. It's egos, man. That's it. Once the umpires realize that their job is going to be made easier and you can sit back there, you don't have to fucking worry about it, you can just manage a game, that's going to be a whole lot better. Okay. Double sky point, by the way. Whitey Herzog, former Cardinals manager, Royals manager, Hall of Famer, dies at the age of 92. Herzog was inducted to the Hall of Fame of 2010. He played 8 seasons in the major leagues, by the way, debuting with the Senators in 1956 and managed the Royals to 3 straight appearances in the American League Championship Series from 76 to 1978. He shepherded the early career of Hall of Famer George Brett. He brought shortstop Ozzie Smith to the Cardinals and watched him become one of the best defense players in baseball history. He was colorful. He was blunt. He was occasionally off color. Most of all, he was a successful manager. 1,281 wins, 1,125 losses. I can't wait to talk to Thrill about this tonight because I got to imagine he's got some Whitey Herzog stories. But we need more Whitey Herzogs in the game. More of these managers with personalities and specific styles. He was a fucking run and gun manager. We saw that with Vince Coleman and Willie McGee and the rest of the Cardinals back in the 80s playing on that turf, the greatest show on turf. Okay, I got a No Filter Network meeting, so gotta roll. But Jack Leiter, son of Al Leiter, good buddy of mine, I worked with the MLB Network, making his major league debut on Thursday. So congratulations to Jack Leiter. We'll be back on tonight, 6 p.m. Pacific time, Deuces Wild with a whole new title sponsor, by the way. This is going to be a fun little reveal tonight as we get rolling. Everyone have a fantastic day. And we will see ya tonight.